Hey guys, Dante here, back with another video, and in this one we'll be talking about kind of the follow-up to the Poison FR build, but this time we went full on cast on crit. And before we get into it, I do want to give a shout out to Captain Lance. He was the one that gave me the idea about where the hell is it? Bound by Destiny. That gives you 20% CDR if you have 2 Shaper items equipped and 1 maximum power charge if you have 6 Crusader items equipped. So big shout out to Captain Lance. I did change a little bit, something from his POB, and I'm changing something on my Merc, and we'll see how that goes. But if you don't know who Captain Lance is, he's really good content creator, so go check him out. Anyway, let's jump right into it. So we got a lot of influence items on this. Like I said in the beginning, we need 6 Crusader influence items to get the additional power charge. So if we go here to charges, you see we have 13 power charges. That's massive. We don't have power charge implicit rings, but we do have an additional power charge on the belt. We got 2 power charges on the shield. We got an additional power charge from Bound by Destiny. We got an additional power charge from Sublime Vision. So yeah, the idea is to stack as many power charges and then run as many synergies as we can with those power charges. Talking about synergies, let's see one of those synergies. That would be this jewel right here, Elegant Hubris under Caspiro, because we're taking Supreme Ostentation, which means we can equip all our gear without caring about any attributes. Because trying to get 212 decks on this build, I don't know, sussy. So Supreme Ostentation is the best option here. And because of that, we are taking these nodes, which gives us attack speed, 4% increased energy shield per power charge. We have 13 power charges, so that is what, 52? I'm bad at math. So 13 times 4 equals 52. Yeah, 52% increased energy shield. I get 12% attack block, 12% attack block, and 12% attack loss. So that's 36 chance to block attack damage. Now, ideally, you would really want a node that gives you increased damage per endurance charge. So that would give you 50% increased damage. Not endurance charge, power charge, I'm sorry. That would give you a bunch of additional damage. But I took the option of getting a lot of block. As you can see here, I am 72% chance to block spell damage and 59% chance to block attack damage. But that chance to block attack damage will go up by the next video, hopefully. As I'm not quite done with this build and I want to push it a little bit further. Now, let's see here. So, the main thing about Bound by Destiny is that it's really expensive right now with the +1 power charge and 20% CDR. If you want to go a cheaper way, just go get the 20% CDR one and whatever mod you want on additional, and then you don't have to worry about influenced unique items. Okay, so you want the 20% CDR. You need Awaken Cast on Crit, and then because if you don't know, for Cast on Crit you need breakpoints 14% and 52%? Yeah, 52% increased CDR. So I'm getting 31% increased CDR from the Awaken Cast on Crit, which is getting additional 3 levels from the Mastery. So it's 31% increased CDR here. I'm getting 20% here, which means I'm 51, which means I am 1% short CDR. Now, you could go the expensive way and get a corrupted level 6 Awaken Cast on Crit, which will push you over that CDR threshold, or be cheap like me and just buy a jewel that has ES, crit multi, and cooldown recovery rate, and then you're good to go. So that is 2 options that you can go for. If you're rich, level 6 Awaken Cast on Crit. If you're brokey like me, a joule with 2% increased cooldown recovery rate and ES and some crit multi. I think I put like 20 chaos for this. Alright. So that's mainly how the build works. We are using Lancing Steel to proc our Forbidden Rite of Soul Sacrifice. We are still using the Soul Sacrifice. And I have socketed into my gloves, which is a multi-link glove. We'll go over that in just a minute. So yeah, speaking of synergies, like we talked in the previous video, Forbidden Rite of Soul Sacrifices gains damage the more ES you have, right? Deals 20% of your maximum energy shield as base chaos damage. So the more ES you get, the more damage you get. The more ES you get from 4% increased energy share per power charge, you get more damage. You get more power charge, you get more damage. You get more ES, you get more damage, and stuff, and so on and so forth. And it's like a snowball effect. Okay. To be able to allocate these passives without them being connected to the tree, we will need to use an impossible escape. Passives in radius to pain attunement can be allocated without being connected to the tree, so you can just allocate these. I did try to search for one in Mind Over Matter, but it's exactly the same thing. You don't need to worry about anything about swapping. If you find a good one here, just put the Timeless Jewel in there and just put the impossible escape somewhere else and allocate the points that way. But I wasn't really able to find a good Timeless Jewel that could compete with this one. Now, you can use the Timeless Jewel finder in POB. So just use that and then find the jewel that you want for your budget. Alright, so we talked a little bit about synergies. Another one is 1% critical strike multiplier per maximum energy shield on shield. So we're using a Malachite's Loop for power charge. It got 261 energy shield. We're getting quite a little bit of crit multi. Also, because we are stacking so much attack damage, right? Even though it's a bit on the lower end, 1% chance to block spell damage per 5% chance to block attack damage. This is a really good master because if I remove this, I am at 62% chance to block spell damage. So let's put it back in. Boom, 11% chance to block damage just like that. All right. Let's get directly into the gear and how to craft them. If you guys want me to make a special video for each piece of gear, just let me know. I don't know. If I explain everything here, there probably shouldn't be need for a special video just for crafting, but let me know. The gloves, you need a Warlock base, Shaper, and Elder Influence. You spam Essences of Horror, which gives you socketed gems have 3.5% critical strike chance, until you get spells have crit multi and socketed gems are supported by faster attacks. We need faster attacks because we need Lancing Steel to attack faster. Once you're happy with the rolls you got, you could go T2, T2, T1, T2. I wouldn't really go for anything below T2 because it's the tier 3 for crit multi is like 30%. It's like you can get 30% on Jewel. So anything below T2 I wouldn't really settle for. So yeah, you get your suffixes done. If you get, for example, you spam essences, you get faster attacks. You lock your suffixes, you do suffixes cannot be changed, and then you reforge caster, which guarantees you the critical strike multiplier. If you get like a T2 and you're not happy with it, you could elevate it with Orb of Dominance. If you're feeling cheeky, that's how I got mine level 25 faster attacks, because I had a tier 3 crit multi and then I elevated, hopefully to hit the faster attacks, and I did. Then I logged the suffixes and I did reforge caster, that guaranteed me the crit multi. Then I locked the suffixes again and I did reforge speed. Faster projectile is the only speed modifier in the prefixes for the gloves. And I got lucky. I got T1. and then I crafted mana on the bench, and I exalt slammed, luckily, T1 percent ES, and then I just bench craft the rest of the energy shield. So that's how you craft the gloves. Moving on to the boots, you just need a riveted double influence pair of boots, or single influence, depending on your bound by destiny, excuse me. And then you use an omen of what's his name? Omen of Fortune. There you go. You use an Omen of Fortune, and then with this Chance Orb, you're guaranteed to get Relications and Patience. Now, this league, they changed Relicash to have Power, Frenzy, or Endurance, not all of them at the same time. So you need to be lucky enough to get power charges. I did on the second try, which cost me quite a pretty penny, but it does look good, and it serves the purpose of the build. So keep in mind, be careful not to debate yourself and get like the frenzy charge or endurance charge. You need the power charges. Okay, same story with Malachi's Loop. It is the only unique harmonic spirit shield that can be chanced in. So you just use that one and you're good to go. Moving on to the rings. I crafted these with essences, or you can craft them with Reforged Defense or Dense Fossils until you hit double energy shield and evasion. We're gonna get back to why we need evasion on both rings. And same for this one. Energy shield, evasion. I don't really need that crit multi over there, but it's good to have. In the suffixes, we don't need int for the first thing. We don't need int because our attributes don't matter. But it's probably going to be a good resell. You want the resistances in the suffix preferably to cap your resistances, because I had to do a lot of jewels with resistances to get res capped. Moving on to the body armor. You gain onslaught for 6 seconds when hit fractured. Every time you proc Forbidden Rite, you do get hit. You take no damage, but you do get hit. I mentioned this in my previous video as well. So I fractured that. I essence spammed with 10% chance to take reduced damage from critical strike charge essences, even though this will not be needed. I need to redo the suffixes, so you don't need that because I am using a Garb of the Ephemeral, which makes me crit immune, so I will redo the suffixes on that chest for double resistances. So you can if you got the Onslaught Fracture, just spam a res essence or whichever's cheaper until you get good prefixes, and then if you get like I did, 2 double T1s, and then just benchcraft the third ES mod, you're looking at over 1167 energy shield Twilight Regalia. If you get like a 25 to 30% quality Val Regalia, that's even better. You're gonna have over like 1300 energy shield. Alright, moving on to the weapon. The weapon is really interesting because it can have one additional crafted modifier, which guarantees us to craft the damage per power charge. Now, how you craft this is you spam Essences of Woe until you hit Critical Strike Multiplier. You need these 2 mods alone, okay? And then you craft 2 suffixes to fill in the suffixes, because you can have 2 crafted modifiers. One of them will be Cannon Roll attack mods, and the other one will be whatever you want. And then you do an Exalt Slam, and you're good to go. You will guarantee yourself +1 socket of gems. At that point, you will have 3 modifiers. You will have the Global Crit Multi, you will have the +1, and the increased spell damage. Now, you will need to craft suffix cannot be changed, and prefixes cannot be changed. Very important. And then you will use a Veil Chaos Orb to guarantee yourself a veiled suffix, and you will keep the crafted modifiers. It's like a Veiled Exalt, but without any risks. It's a 4 divine craft, but it guarantees you a suffix. Now, for the suffix, you ideally want damage per power charge, because that goes up to 6. But if you get crit multi while a rare unique enemy is nearby, take it and just benchcraft. Hits can be evaded and damage per power charge. If you're lucky and unveil damage per power charge, then benchcraft crit multi while a rare unique enemy is nearby. And hits can be evaded, obviously. For my helmet, I essence spammed, if you can believe it, a +1 power charge in the prefix. The crit multi over there, I will probably try to elevate the power charge because I need another resist over there. Or, I don't know, I'll see what happens. But I basically essence spammed until I got +1 power charge in an open prefix. Then I locked the prefixes with prefixes cannot be changed. I did reforged defense, and luckily I got T2 energy shield, but the suffixes also got filled, which is unfortunate for me. But it is what it is. I'll take it. It's still a pretty damn good helmet. 424 energy shield with an additional power charge. This can be very expensive. So until you can afford this, just grab any helmet that has +1 power charge corruption. Well, preferably with energy shield, but yeah. For my amulet, I am using a sea glass amulet. I was lucky enough to divine this to perfection almost. And apparently it's 50 divines? God damn. I bought this for 15C through one divine edit and it max rolled, and now I'm rich apparently. Alright, good. For the belt, I'm using Graven's Secret, which drops from Maven with a crit multi implicit. This gives us an additional power charge. This gives us flat energy shield, and our power charges are converted to endurance to absorption charges. And players recoup a percentage of elemental damage they take as energy shield for each absorption charge they have. So we got 13. So we're taking how much? 12% elemental as energy shield per. Okay, so we got calculator. 13 times 12 was 13? No, 12. 12 times 13. 156 we're recouping, which is great. It allows us to run pretty juicy maps, like you saw. For the flask, all my flasks have 35% chance to gain a fast charge when you deal a critical strike chance. This gives us uptime even on bosses. Make sure to quality them up. I'm using reduced effect of curses, movement speed, armor, evasion, and a rarity flask with rarity. I think I will ditch the reduced effect of curses because I'm using the garb now, so temp change doesn't really affect me that much. And just go for regen. But we'll see in the next video. Alright, so my skills, like I said, in my gloves I have Lancing Steel, Awaken Cast on Crit, Greater Volley, and Forbidden Rite of Soul Sacrifice. In my helmet I have Efficacy, More Duration, Immortal Call, and Cast 1 Damage Taken. The Efficacy just to extend duration there, but don't really have endurance charges, huh? So we'll see how that goes. I'm using cast 1 damage taken again with Purifying Flame. This helps me on Uber bosses like you saw with the Exarch. The Exarch hits you, you proc this, you get consecrated Con Ground, and that basically gives you another 1000 energy shield regeneration, which is great. In my boots, faster attacks, momentum, shield charge, and frostblink. In my weapon, I have an Empower 4, which thanks to the weapons craft +1 of socketed gems, it's Empower 5, which bumps up our Despair to 26 and our Discipline to 26 as well. So we're getting a bunch of flat energy shield and lots of curse effect. Alright, that's the gear, gems, and flasks. Let's go back to the skill tree. As you can see, I tattooed every single node that's into energy shield because of Supreme Ostentation. And I am taking the crit multi here, plus 3 levels of crit gems over there for our cast on crit. Just a bunch here. A little bit of spell damage leeches energy shield. I really like this node. It's very worth the 1 point. The power charge wield, obviously with increased damage per endurance, power, frenzy, and power charges. Energy shield, block, energy shield, block, energy shield, crit. You get it. Okay, so for my clusters, I'm using one veteran defender and prodigious defense because I don't see a reason why there should be another. I mean, this prodigious defense could be good if it's here, but I couldn't find a cluster jewel that makes that. But anyway, yeah, I actually got an open suffix, prefix, suffix. Okay, and I'm using another large cluster jewel with overwhelming malice, touch of cruelty, unholy grace. Unholy grace gives you attack speed. Overwhelming malice gives you 10% chance to gain unholy might for 4 seconds on crit. You crit all day, every day, and this converts 100% of your physical damage, which means you won't die to. I mean, you wouldn't die anyway, but you won't die to reflect fizz, so that's good. On your lancing steel, and it gives you 25% chance to apply wither on hit. So basically you got 15 stacks of wither all the time on single target bosses. All right. Oh, the jewels, yeah. So we talked about Bound by Destiny, we talked about the Elegant Hubris, and we talked about the Impossible Escape. For the rest of my jewels, I am using rare jewels with a lot of resist, energy shield, spell damage while holding a shield. A lot of resist, ES, spell damage while holding a shield. A lot of resist, energy shield, and a good global crit multi implicit. Ideally, you would like a lot more crit multi than I have. This one is spell damage, crit multi, energy shield, res, and my final jewel is the CDR one with ES, cooldown recovery rate, and crit multi. So yeah, I am going for the +1 curse for additional quality of life. Too much work to do to get a profane bloom to work, because I'm manually casting a curse and it's not worth the hassle for me. But if you're going like a budget version or a cheaper version, you could go with a curse on hit glove and use profane bloom. And yeah, that's I think that's pretty much the build. Oh, what I'm farming, yeah, because you guys liked that last time, right? So I am currently farming 8 modded maps in Dunes T16.5. I'm missing one scarab here, which is a risk scarab, I think, or something like that. And I'm using 3 scarabs of multitude for additional monster packs. And as you can see, I have a lot of maps. This is all from today, by the way. You can also self-sustain the T16.5 dunes. You get 1 per map on average, sometimes 2, sometimes more. And I am getting a lot of T17s. These are all from today. So I think it's like 60 chaos per fortress. And these are a lot of fortresses, 10, 20, 25, 26, 27. So good old reliable. So 27 times 60 chaos, it's 1,600. That's like 10 divines, I think. Yeah, 10 divines. So just 10 divines from that, plus all the bubblegum currency. I'm sitting on 69 divines, not too shabby. Got a lot of bubblegum currency, yeah. So yeah, I hope you guys found this video interesting. I hope it helps some of you to find a new build or something. And yeah. Oh, future tech. I am trying to put this on my merc. This will give us block and crit multi. So nearby allies have 1% chance to block attack damage per 100 strength. Nearby allies have 6% critical strike multiplier per 100 dex. So I'm trying to make my merc a stat stacker, basically. But we'll see. Oh, note the reduced rarity doesn't matter because he's not gonna be killing the mobs. We are, so the reduced rarity means nothing. And he doesn't need mana either, so just attributes, strength and dex, strength and dex attributes. I'm gonna try and fix his res, so hopefully by next time I'm gonna have an update to this. And yeah, I'm gonna try and get a corruption on this, corruption on that, and craft some gear for him. I want to replace my Merc for a two-hander one, so I can give him a Kingmaker, but hopefully that's gonna be a positive update in the next video. Anyways, that'll be it for me. Hope you guys had fun. I know I am playing this build. So until next time, take care and stay safe.